Hello, welcome to Writing in the Real World. And in this episode, we're going to do a little bit of an overview of the friendly feedback framework. Don't worry if you haven't heard about it, but just think about how you are getting feedback on your writing. Are you getting feedback? One of the surest ways to become a better writer is by receiving feedback. Now, maybe you have horror stories from grade school where you submitted a paper and it came back and it was full of red. And you thought, I don't want that. Why would I purposefully give something to somebody for feedback if it's going to come back like that? So we want to remove that idea of feedback, instead have this idea of friendly feedback. It's all about choices. You're going to make 3 important choices to make sure that you receive feedback that you can trust and use. Because there's no point in getting feedback if you can't even use it. So you want to know, who am I going to get feedback from? Like, who do I ask? Number 2, what kind of feedback do I want? Do I want a page full of red? What do I want? And thirdly, what feedback should I apply? So when you get that feedback coming back to you, how do I know what I want to use? Well, let's dive in just a little bit. Choice number 1 is the feedback giver. It's essential to choose the right person. Otherwise, you might get nasty feedback. Somebody who is ultra picky, taking every single thing that you have done, what they deem as incorrect, and you're going to get that page full of red. You want somebody who is perhaps a tutor or a teacher in a relevant field, a subject matter expert, maybe a classmate who is doing well, a colleague or supervisor, or perhaps you just need somebody who is actively reading and writing. So what you want to do is find 3 people that you could possibly ask for some feedback. Now, this is assuming that you have something that you would like to get feedback on. So think about, do you have a report that you need to submit? Are you working on a proposal? Perhaps you're writing a grant proposal. You want feedback on it. Maybe you're writing an essay. Maybe you are applying for a new job and you want feedback on a letter that you're going to submit. Whatever it is, doesn't matter how big or small, we can ask for feedback. So choose, who would you like to ask? Secondly, we want to ask some questions. Now, we want to limit it to 3 specific questions. And if you are watching the video version of this episode, I'm going to share my screen with you so you can see. Just give me a second here. You're going to be able to see this friendly feedback framework. There we go. And you'll see we are asking 3 questions. You'll notice that the questions are specific and they can be answered with yes or no. We just need to know, did you include this item or not in your writing? For example, did I use commas correctly in complex sentences? So of course you want, if you're asking that question, you want somebody who knows what a complex sentence is, knows how to use commas. Perhaps you're at a later stage in your writing journey and you're ready for it to be polished. Do I have a strong hook in the introduction? So you want your reader to read it and think, yes, I want to keep reading. You want that hook. That can be answered yes or no. Either they were hooked or they wouldn't. Do the facts support my argument? So depending on what kind of writing you're doing, you might have some facts that need to support your argument. Perhaps you're trying to persuade somebody to do something or think something differently. And when you are talking to the person or requesting feedback, you want to make sure that they are looking for that and that your examples support your main points or your facts support your argument. Now, if you see on the Friendly Feedback Framework, and I will put the link so you can get that, download it, and use that resource, you're going to have the feedback question. There's room for 3. This is to prevent that full page of red, because really, how many things can you work on at a time? Like for real, right? There's always the next composition or the next draft for further improvement. They just need to answer yes or no, which also makes it easier on the person that's giving the feedback. And then they can give a specific example. Perhaps you said, do the facts support my argument? And they said, well, the first argument you had, or the first point, you had facts that supported that, but the second one was a bit weak. Right away, you know exactly what to work on. And they might give a suggestion. Perhaps look at this resource, or where you could further support your argument, or something maybe that you wanted to remove. So we're going to choose 3 questions, put them in there. We can give that to the person who is going to give us the feedback. It gives them a framework, so they're not left going, what do you want me to do with this? Do you want to know everything? No, 3 things. And finally, you're going to get that back with your composition, and we want to implement some of the feedback. This is where the learning happens. This is where that jump starting your writing, improving quickly, that's where that comes in. So you're going to take all this feedback with a grain of salt. Maybe they were having a bad day when they gave you feedback. Maybe they were having a really good day and everything looked good to them. So whatever the extreme, we're going to take it at face value as somebody's opinion. They're just suggestions. Whether you implement them is up to you. So that's the beauty of it. They don't have to feel like they're going to wreck your composition if they give you the wrong feedback, because you have a choice. You can say, really, that's interesting. I don't think that at all. I'm not going to use that. That's up to you. But we're assuming that you asked somebody that you respected, and you're at least willing to consider their feedback. So take those suggestions, and you're going to create another draft. So at this point, it might be that you're at the end and you need to submit it to whatever, wherever it needed to go. Maybe it was time to submit the paper or the report or the proposal or send the email, whatever it is. And so you just need to, what we call, ship it, get it out the door. And then time for the next one. Use the Friendly Feedback Framework so you can get feedback. Maybe you're looking for 3 different pieces of feedback, but you can always incorporate that feedback from the previous composition. So if you click the link in the notes or comments below, you will be able to have access to this Friendly Feedback Framework. Give it a try and see. Watch your writing improve quickly by getting specific feedback that you can apply right away. Thank you for joining me for this episode of Writing in the Real World. And until next time, keep reading and writing.